Now look, I've told you, no sitting at the back skulking. You're coming to the front with me where I can keep an eye on you. Now stay there, no messing about. Right, now over the past few weeks we have looked at the exterior of a car, the interior of a car, and this week your final lesson, possibly the most important bit, the bit that makes it work, the engine. Now pay attention. Now I am not a mechanic, but you don't have to be to tell an awful lot about a car's engine if you follow a few simple steps. First of all, unless you're buying a Porsche or a Beetle, the business end is at that end. And remember, don't be afraid to roll up your sleeves and get stuck in. You might even want to write down a checklist and take it with you. There's nothing wrong with doing that. Right, here we go. Start off nice and simple. If, as the bonnet opened, it reveals oil caked over every surface, then the odds are the engine has been vomiting the stuff like a rugby player on his 26th pint at the curry festival. This is a bad thing and means you want to be asking questions straight away. Once we pass that hurdle, it's time to start tinkering. We're going for the dipstick. It's a simple enough process. Pull dipstick out, wipe with handy bit of tissue or rag, replace it in the little hole, dip it, and have a look at what we've got. Now, if there's a low level, if it's not between the two marks, then that indicates there's not enough oil, which means it could have bad wear inside the engine. It's a sign of neglect. But even if there's enough, look at the actual oil. If it's really thick and black and yucky and full of bits, then that means that's very old oil and hasn't been changed in a long time. Again, a sign of neglect, could mean a badly worn engine, and you want to be worried. If it's looking nice and clean and healthy and recent, doesn't necessarily mean it's perfect. It could just have been put in, but it is a good sign. Couple of quick pointers if you are dipping the oil. First, make sure the engine hasn't just been run. You've got to give the oil time to settle back down into the sump to give you an accurate level, and make sure the car is parked on roughly level ground. Next, a couple of caps to deal with. First of all, if there is a traditional radiator at the front of the car with a traditional radiator cap, remove it. First of all, make sure the engine is very cold. You do not want scalding water in your face. Take it out and have a look. What we're looking for is traces of oil. That's bad. Any kind of white gooey stuff. That also is bad. Anything that looks untoward or unpleasant. If it does look a bit green or blue, don't be worried by that. That just means there's antifreeze in it. That's the radiator cap. The next cap is the cap on the rocker cover. Remove it and have a look. Have a really good ferret around here. Look right underneath and around and inside. If there's anything that's white and lumpy and unpleasant, that means there's water in the oil. That could mean the head gasket has gone, which, depending upon the car, could be very bad and very expensive. Don't forget as well to take a quick deco at the battery. Does it look in reasonably good nick as far as you can tell visually, and not as though it was something used to start the arc? Make sure the terminals look reasonably corrosion free. Other than that, all we can do are the kind of checks you do under your own bonnet anyway, so check the levels of everything. Check your water reservoir. Check your reservoir for your windscreen washer. Check as well on your brake master cylinder. Is the brake fluid between the max and min levels, and is it all reasonably free and corrosion free around there? None of these necessarily mean the engine is knackered or perfect, but they are a very good indication of how well it's been maintained by the previous owner, and that really is what we're trying to find out. And other than that, while you're under the bonnet, have a good look around, have a shufty about everywhere. Look at the structures, look at the cross members for the front suspension. Everything you can see, make sure that it's not rotted through. You can tell a lot from under here. And unless you are a mechanic, that really is all we can do, just looking visually at the thing. But if after you've started the engine and listened out for knocks and bumps and rattles and grindings, you have any doubts or concerns, my advice is if you're spending a few quid on a car, spend a few more and get it looked at by a mechanic.